I've come to the part of the show where I'm reading you Ezekiel Kralen's latest installation, the story about the two little dogs and the legal troubles and the paying the rent and all the details of living where he lives in San Francisco, at least where he lived last year. He may still live there, but the story is only up to May 27 of 2023. So Just Keeping It Real is the title. Ezekiel Kralen wrote email correspondence May 27th and the 28th last year. Subject: Deke showed up again last night, though not that late. Continued. Date, May 27th, nighttime. Though tempted to ask if he plans to crash out there till morning, I sensed he wanted to be alone with the fellow, so simply offered to fill up the dog's water bowl before crashing out myself. He said okay, so I hurried back upstairs, filled the empty bowl, and brought it to them. Wishing them all a good night, I stepped back into my building, but it didn't end there, good physician. As I reached the stairway's first landing, who should be coming down the steps but Chai Man? I'm not sure how to say that. Or CM, both abbreviations for Chihuahua Man. Okay, Chai Man. And his two little charges. Oops, you scared me, he announced with a chuckle. Sorry, I replied. This is a spooky building, always has been. I sometimes feel like a ghost myself, having lived here so long. He took a few more steps down, then paused, turned to me, and said, Look, I'll try to be as diplomatic as possible with what I want to tell you. Uh-oh, I thought. Of course it's going to be about Deke and the doggy, so I braced myself. Yeah, go ahead, I replied. I know that guy outside is your friend, and you invite him over, he began, but I hear his dogs bark so much, and he brings other riffraff around, so would you please consider holding your get-together somewhere else? Believe me, I replied. I've already tried talking with him, but he's stubborn and insists on dropping by right out front. Besides, he comes over far less often, since he now lives in a tiny cabin, and I don't find the dogs bark that much, just once in a while. Well, he answered back, he's the only person bringing the homeless over here anymore. Oh, that's not true. It's the smoke shop staying open so late that attracts them, besides the old ATM spot, because it's still an inviting hangout. There are a lot fewer homeless in the Castro these days, but they still come around with or without my friend's presence. I've even taken pictures and videos of them. Sidebar. No doubt he was annoyed by that fellow who showed up yesterday screeching conspiracy crap and pedophilia while Deke and dogs were resting near the curb right across from him, but I've seen him show up there numerous times all by his lonesome and hang out below my window for hours. Other indigents, too, which pictures and videos I've shared with you, Watson, and Deke was nowhere to be seen. Unfortunately, since CM prefers to speak with me as rarely as possible and with as few words as possible when he does, he's never afforded me one whit of time to tell him my story, how important it is to maintain a friendship with Deke solely for the well-being of Flacco and Lucky, and what with the way Deke lives, he denies me any other place to meet up. So now what? Are some residents going to gang up and slap a notice on my door, charging me with being a public nuisance based on trumped-up allegations, lawsuit number 4? I say 4 because that second 3-day notice triggered by Kevin's failure to hand my check over to a blah-blah counts as lawsuit number 3. Deke and Pup's disturbances are minor compared to all the other noisy shit that goes on out front, especially that caused by the smoke shop, along with soused clubbers and barflies on weekend nights, hooting it up, arguing crassly with one-night stands as if they were already lovers, pissing and puking out front, etc. But since a lot fewer vagrants now loiter on my block, my association with Deke sticks out like the Jolly Green Giant's sore thumb, making me an undeserving target of wrathful Nimrods. At any rate, Chai Man was nonetheless cordial the whole time. He ended the conversation by saying, well, maybe I should just talk to him myself. To which I answered as he neared the gate, sure, go ahead. He's actually a nice person, just stubborn sometimes. But damn it, he shut the gate before I had the chance to tell him my friend's name is Deke, of course, because he really wants as little to do with me as possible. Fine with this besmirched pilgrim, but it's truly a horse of a different color when it comes to false claims and drama queen gossip. Once having successfully passed through the troll's gate, so to speak, I continued up the stairs. But get this, Watson. From the second-floor landing, I heard the Brindlekin echo arf, 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 arf in my ear as CM stepped outside to take his own pups for a late-night stroll. I don't think he even knew they were still out there, so, surprise, The rest of the night was quiet as the graveyard on Beachy Island, maybe because Chi-Man did speak with my quasi-comrade, who then politely moved elsewhere, though I kind of think not, as CM's approaching the pups would have set them off on another barkfest. In spite of being haunted all night long by the vision of Deke still down there when I step out to purchase my morning Java, I slept the peace of a saint, and when that time came, he was not. Subject. Just sent this off to my attorney. Date May 27th, late night. Begin. Subject. About my rent receipt. And I should have paid attention right off the bat. Nothing to indicate it was signed by a representative of a blah-blah realty. No signature at all. Nothing to indicate a blah-blah realty either. It's just a generic receipt form. This is a lack of security on the part of the property owner, and tenants are expected to accept that as proof of payment. I find this worrying, even though it's been like this since I first moved in decades ago. In light of what I've been recently going through, any point in addressing this to their attorney? ? I believe my concern is totally legitimate. Thanks again for your attention. End. Subject. Deke showed up again late last night, though not that late. Edit. Date May 28th. While proofreading this missive, I grew curious about my reference to a graveyard on Baffin Island, so searched for just that, to discover Beachy Island, also part of the Nunavut territory, and is where the cemetery of the Franklin expedition is located. 4 men buried there, so I changed my line from "the rest of the night was quiet as a graveyard on Baffin Island" to "the rest of the night was quiet as the graveyard on Beachy Island." Just keeping it real. P.S. Speak of the devil. This article. And that's how it ends. There's nothing after that. And no attachment.